Welcome to the show. This is Your View on TVC. I am Tokwe Mark Odiger. It's Healthy Tuesday, and I'm excited to be here. As usual, I have the ladies, and YK is in the building. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo,
Yo,
yo.
yo,
Good
yo.
morning, good morning.
Looking girlish in pink. In
Blue.
baby blue.
This is powder blue.
It's powder blue.
Baby blue.
Nigerians
Looking
and
babyish in blue.
looking babyish in blue. Baby blue.
The blue is going to
thank
blow us
you.
away.
Right.
How you doing? What happened?
Hello.
When exclamation starts like this.
So, we have 2 generators in our house.
No.
We have solar
Okay.
and we have NEPA. Everything. Yesterday.
All together.
You know, the solar worked till
Some part of the night.
no more. NEPA, they don't tell us the transformer don't blow. So,
The
forget.
grid collapse. Yeah.
Generator. They've knocked 2 generators. One 80 kVA, one 65 kVA.
That's a lot.
I am just fed up.
Auntie, are you sure you're not going to move to where there is band A? I know you will leave your very spacious compound, because some of us
But
are
we have not
complaining.
even received the bill from NEPA for Shrine. Whether it will lead to the closure of the business, I don't know.
No, it's not going to happen.
I think people have just been trying to make shit somehow.
When they didn't increase price, they were giving us 1.something million as bill.
But Tuba was on the show yesterday. Why can't I
sent text.
Questions.
I was just eyeing the TV. I was just eyeing him. I was just angry. And he was talking with, and then he was saying, vandalism. Which vandalism? Go and trace it. If someone is stealing from me, I will go and trace the person. I will find the person. You are telling me that they are stealing from you and you are blaming me for them stealing from you. Is it me going to go and look for your thief? Go and look for your thief by yourself.
Next month is your birth month. Throughout next month, you're not going to be allowed to come here and lament. We're going to say any day YK is on the show, she's going to give us good news. But we'll let you lament and complain about Nigeria till the end.
This is
You have to give us some good news, YK.
No. And I hope Otumba is watching because, man, I was
He's
so
always
angry
watching.
yesterday.
Oh, and he's your friend.
and he's my friend.
I think the same
Everything will
thing.
be all right.
We all have this thing with PAT and looking at the news and saying that National Grid has collapsed again for the 19.9 billion time. I say, hey, God. And to buy the fuel, if the fuel was accessible, I think it's another thing. It would be nice. But you have to now go on long queues just to access something that is an essential commodity. It's not been too nice because my son woke up at about 2 a.m. I started fanning when the gen went off. And I asked, I said, Sheko say money. They say no fuel again. I said, God, this is how we run our life till the end of the week.
See,
damn.
Person cannot even be buying diesel again like that. If you buy
But diesel price has come down. People don't mention when things go down. No.
Has it come down? I don't buy diesel. I say generator don't knock for house. How will I buy diesel?
Diesel price has come down.
Really?
Naira
But
price
we
has
still
gone
need to
up.
come down.
We did not say anything.
How much is diesel?
Obiajulu, let me hear.
1.3 now.
Why can't you were
we
shouting
need
when
to
it was
come down.
1.8?
Yes, we need to come down more because it's really affecting everybody. I don't go to my shop every day now because anytime I'm there and I need to make videos, we have to put on the gen. Because I went there yesterday, they said there was no, driver, carry care, go. Buy, I will pay you back. Immediately he came back, madam, have you transferred my money? I said, I'll transfer your money. And once I'm done that day, that feel is finished. If I have to go back today, I have to buy. So I'm not going to the shop today. When I finish, I go to my house. The one we've done will manage the content till, but I'm also still planning to continue.
I don't know what you're talking about.
YK, I'm planning to continue my sales, but now we're moving to the hair. I'm moving to the hair, so it will be starting this Friday. So get ready. We've got amazing hairs for you.
Maybe that's why I interrupted you.
Because you don't want to hear about it.
That's my business.
This one that
that's my business.
Wait, Jared, you are telling me that diesel has gone down. It's, for 240 liters, it's still 312,000 now.
No, who is going?
Reconfirm the person helping you to buy.
Who is buying?
You need to.
You say it's 1.3. I've done it 1.3 times 200.
Yeah, but it was 1.8 before
1.6,
1.7, 1.5. Let us give a bit of credit, even when we see the small credit. Anyway,
Yeah.
yesterday was graduation at my real estate mentorship and mastery program.
So fast.
So fast. 2 weeks gone. Wow. I'm very grateful. We just had to, it was 2 weeks and 2 days. we just had to, people didn't know where to go. But some came from Abuja, from Asaba, had someone that came in from Germany, said she came in January, but when she heard about the program, she wanted to just get in touch. I feel so humbled and grateful for the opportunity. Please do not forget, we're still selling land and selling houses. We'll take a quick break right now. When we return, we'll go through the front pages of the paper. There are many stories that we need to dig into. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We're starting front page review with The Nation. Major headline: Ibadan attack. Police launch manhunt for Abiola's widow. Other backers of violent agitation on security radar. Suspects to be charged with treason, terrorism. In other news, crude oil reserves hit 37.50 billion barrels. Another power grid collapse paralyzes businesses and other activities. 30 held for illegal mining. NDLEA arrests 50,901 drug suspects in 3 years. APC suspends Ganduje's ward ESCO for 6 months. How to stem inflation by experts. And Tinubu writes on Chibok girl says kidnapping must end. In other news, Trump's criminal trial begins in New York and Israel-Iran war looms. Okay, so what are we starting with?
The one for the Ibadan. Ibadan is dear to my heart. My secondary school was in Ibadan. I spent 6 years in Ibadan. So anything that concerns Ibadan is like home for me. So the Ibadan attack, the police launched manhunt for Abiola's widow. And this one says that the police yesterday launched a manhunt for Mrs. Dupe Onitiri Abiola, a suspected sponsor of the invasion of the Oyo State Government Secretariat in Ibadan by some Yoruba Nation agitators. The manhunt for Mrs. Onitiri Abiola, a widow of the business mogul and prominent politician, the late Chief Moshood Abiola, followed her broadcast in a viral video in which she claimed responsibility for the violence that jolted the government of six southwest states. And in this news, it also said that the governor, Seyi Makinde, said invaders met superior powers. That the governor of Oyo State said the hoodlums that stormed the state secretariat met what was beyond their imagination. And the governor also assured that the state would spare no person and would deploy all resources to ensure a safe and secure environment. Same on the story, Onitiri also spoke. That's the special advisor to the Oyo State government on security, Fatai Owosheni, said Onitiri Abiola is a leader of the other separatist group. Owosheni, who spoke on the national television, said the woman has been there for more than 3 decades. So this one, I want to say congratulations to the people of Oyo and the government especially. We saw their sporadic response. And I think that that's how emergency should go. When there is an emergency at hand, let it be as hot as it is, please, because we also know that, yes, security agents, but in the video I saw, I feel that our security apparatus or architecture, they are not well equipped, because the whole retreat, advance. I mean, there are some other tactics that we can use.
Process even on how to deal with such kind of things.
You understand?
Kinetic and non-kinetic.
Again.
Even with the ammunitions.
Well, one of the lady that was among them said they had promised her a better life if she takes part. Another one said he was defiant. There was a professor among them, a 55-year-old lecturer of Federal College of Education. You know, so they got these people. And my own shock is, we the Yorubas that did not know about it. How can you tell me you're my leader? Who's leader?
Who chose you? Who appointed you?
Exactly. When did we have that conversation?
But it's not our hot topic, so...
Yes, inflation, no. They said inflation has risen to a new high of 33.20%, and experts are calling for intensive and complementary fiscal strategies to support the monetary initiatives being taken by the Central Bank of Nigeria in order to stem the rising cost of living. Now, the National Bureau of Statistics yesterday released the latest inflation figures, and I'm going to take them. It says that it increased by 150 basis points from 31.70% in February 2024 to 33.20% in March 2024. Now, the jump in inflation rate exceeded most projections, and the inflation rate was 30 basis points above average analysis consensus of 32.90%, which was originally estimated by Bloomberg. Now, the headline inflation was primarily driven by increases in food inflation and core inflation, which rose by 209 basis points and 77 basis points to 40.01% and 25.90% respectively. They said it also included all items, farm produce, energy, and on a month-to-month basis, it showed 10 basis points from 3.12% in February, 3.02% in March. All these numbers are only saying that the prices of things may remain elevated in the meantime.
Despite.
Yes, saying that there's also a need for structural issues that are hindering the food productivity and reduction.
I remember the last time we had this economist on the show, he said it takes about a few months for economic policies to take effect. So the impact of the interventions being done now, we might not feel that in the market immediately.
Of
it might
course
take a
not.
bit
Yes,
of
we have
time.
people
So
who
we
have
should be a bit patient with
purchase their
stocked up
products.
their
Yes,
things,
and now because they are not sure whether it's still going up and down, nobody wants to just be making losses and you're doing investments.
Okay.
So the APC have suspended Ganduje's World Exco for 6 months. You know, they had made a proclamation yesterday saying they were suspending Ganduje, saying it was an embarrassment, saying...
How can you suspend your national chairman? You said, those people said, they don't understand the game, the politics they are playing.
He said the party was being subjected to unnecessary embarrassment from their rival New Nigeria's party, and that Ganduje should just go and rest and face all these things, clear his name first before they will...
But now the people that were suspending have now been suspended. That is politics. While I agree that it might take a back step to clear his name, which is what anybody that wants to say I'm transparent, I'm clean should do. I feel like it was not a wise move to suspend your national chairman.
Yeah, but they also spoke about that video. Can you remember one video where he was purportedly collecting some money?
Yeah,
That's
a
a
while
long time ago.
while
It still
back.
happened.
Yeah, and it's
You don't
recorded.
sweep it under the carpet because it was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
I just think it boils down to accountability. If you are involved, be accountable for it.
So, a quick story before we move on to Punch. 30 illegal miners were arrested in Niger State. Now, we know that a lot of the kidnappings and banditry are supported by illegal mining. They said they arrested these 30 people. The Commissioner for Mineral Resources in Niger State, Garba Sabo, had said yesterday that the ministry had profiled 229 mining companies for assessment to determine which of them they would approve or disapprove. Like they're already working. And that they addressed reporters saying that they had made some arrests during the recent visit to some illegal mines and lamented that people could not be arrested because the miners run upon seeing the officer. So they probably haven't gotten the big wigs, the owners of the mine. They're just seeing the people that are acting on it, that it's unfair to call the government incompetent when you have not seen the work that has been done, that they go to mining sites and sometimes, despite being with security men, they are usually attacked while doing their best to stop this menace and protect the site. So the commissioner has hinted that they are going to introduce biometrics to get complete details of all miners in the state to prevent monopoly of business by some companies. So I think mining portends a lot of revenue for Nigeria, and we are not getting the opportunity because of all the...
whoever that commissioner is doing a good job because he's going to the root.
Yes.
Of the matter.
With the risk of his own life as well. Moving on to Punch, major headline. Vandalism worsen grid collapse as gas shortage slashes power supply. In other news, Nigeria's FDI fell by $19 billion in 10 years. That's from Edu, our minister. Yoruba Nation, lecturer defense participation, police parade 21. Testimony backlash. Dunamis apologizes as Abuja testifier meets Eneche and wife.
Better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oromoni. Father kicks as coroner blames parents. Doctor for teenager's death. State police. Police law amendment may take 2 years. Naira nears 1,000 at parallel markets. Dangote Modular Refinery to pay Naira for crude. To pay in Naira for crude. And, of course, you can't miss the picture of the former president, Donald Trump in America, during his trial over alleged cover-up for payments linked to extramarital affairs. Anything to share Neil Trump, Sha? We're watching it.
I took the Romani story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his father, the father of the late 12-year-old from Dugan College, I'm sure we all remember the story, has said he's not going to rest, he's not going to accept the coroner's report. The coroner report has said that he died from neglect of the parents and the doctor. Yeah, that they didn't see any substance in him, and they didn't see any blunt force trauma to
have been the cause of the death.
But been the cause of his death. That it's possible that he was bullied, but that was not the cause of his death. Apparently, he had had an injury.
And sepsis. We had the coroner, one of the coroners here.
And it was
sepsis, so sad.
Which is a very, people don't know about it because it killed my uncle last year. And that's what killed him. I don't know.
It wasn't from the school. I think
it wasn't directly from the school.
It wasn't directly from the school.
They said it was negligence of the doctor and
the isn't our hot topic. We cannot discuss it further because it's something that if we start, we cannot finish. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll move on to another story. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We're still going through the front pages of the papers. And yesterday we discussed the Dunamis story. I know Dami has the return leg of the first match.
Yes, and that one said that, of course, we all witnessed it on Sunday. This one said the woman who was accused of lying while giving testimony at the Dunamis International Gospel Center, Abuja, Vera Ayim, has said she bears no grudges against the church. This following the controversy that trailed the treatment that was meted out to her by the church senior pastor, Dr. Paul Eneche, on Sunday. And the video that emerged online, of course, Ayim, during her testimony in the church, said she graduated with a BSc in law from the National Open University of Nigeria, and this created a backlash. And because the pastor actually said that the testimony was false, that there is no way you can have a BSc degree in law. And some people also attributed it to stage fright. Some people said, oh, how would you graduate as a lawyer and you don't even know the qualification or what you have graduated with, the
it was our hot topic yesterday.
That you are graduated with. So it forced, I think the people of Nigeria, let me say that, forced the pastor to apologize, which the apology came from the church letterhead paper to the woman who is a member of the church. She is a member, not like
and
she's
there was
an outsider.
He didn't apologize on the altar. He should.
No, he didn't apologize.
There's no service yet now. He might mention
on Sunday, he should mention.
He might mention it
on
on Sunday, but they took a
Sunday.
picture. They took pictures together.
Yeah, the picture. But I like the fact that it was spontaneous. It happened like that same day. Because maybe, I would say maybe that was her breakthrough. Because if she had just gone to do BSc in law, in quotes, and she didn't come up to give that testimony, nobody would have known the stories or her history.
And
but everybody,
does she have money yet?
They've
no,
not
but
started.
the way that we supported her, at least just to give her that sanity and that self-esteem, to return her self-esteem that, okay, Nigerians are
But another hot story is from BC. Please, what happened? Why is vandalism after what's going on?
So they said economic activities which you experienced, YK and other people, were paralyzed nationwide for several hours yesterday following the collapse of the national grid. And this is the 6th time this year that this grid is collapsing, and the 2nd time this month. So the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, was blaming the grid collapse on a fire outbreak at Afam Power Generating Station in Oyigbo, Rivers State. And they said it took more than 12 hours for them to fix, which triggered a drop in the generation from 629 megawatts to 64.70 megawatts. That's 629 to 64.70 megawatts, which now left domestic, users without power for hours before the grid in Osun State was now finally fixed. And they said they had warned earlier that the grid may collapse due to pressure to meet the 20 to 24-hour electricity supply to users classified under Band A. And, you know, they're still trying to sort out the modalities for that before the fire outbreak now happened and then the grid collapsed. And they went ahead to tell us, you know, everything that happened in the Afam 4 power station and how they had sorted it. You know, that how the fire, you know, broke out. Yes, they gave a breakdown, just giving all the megawatts reduction and increments and all of that.
Yeah,
but they are saying, but now
that started the fire.
No. Vandals didn't start the fire. The fire just broke out. But then they also complained that one of the reasons also that people have been vandalizing, you know.
If you vandalize the gas process,
yes, it can lead to fire outbreak. And then people are also stealing their, you know, their
so I was going to talk about
wires.
When they know that this happens.
All of that.
But the way we are approaching it is different. Me, I have to, they put bail for 2 of my staff now that they stole cable, and those boys were innocent. They are farmers on my site. But they said they stole cables in Ekpe, and they rounded everybody on all the estates. So now we are struggling to get those boys out, but they are innocent. The people that are stealing the cables, we've not found them. So even when they are trying to administer the justice, we need to do it in a way that, because I don't even know I'm going to release those boys.
How else are they going to do it? They will round up everybody. So the idea is to everybody to hold each other accountable.
To protect what is our own.
You say something, yeah.
Yes,
or else when they come to that community, they'll pack everybody.
It's not our hot topic. YK. It's not our hot topic. All these topics that we are discussing during front page review, we need to move on.
But if they are heavy,
they come around
ladies,
if they
moving on.
and I didn't see anything.
Moving on to, they won't know because they rounded farmers, small boys,
yes.
beat them to stupor.
Is it right?
Because they're trying to protect. So I hear one side, but I'm feeling it on the other side. Moving on to Daily Sun.
Pick a hustle.
As in, major headline. Fresh twist in Kaduna politics as APC ward sacks Ganduje. We also got the reprisal. 10 years after Chibok adoption, UNICEF rates anti-attack warning system low. That's our own response system low. Calls for action to secure children's education in Nigeria. NDLEA arrests 50,910 drug offenders in 3 years. Matawale turns NEF spokesman, tells him to leave APC and if government can't promote him. If we rescue over 1,000 abductees without, how we rescued over 1,000 abductees without ransom, that's from the NSA. Governor Sule expresses worry over spike in kidnapping within his state. Plateau killings, Boko's residents raise alarm over shooting of civilians by soldiers. It is not true from the military. Food prices continue to rise as inflation hits 33.2%. El Rufai, federal government now paying more subsidies, urged Tinubu to sack non-performing appointees. That is hot. Federal government sued over plight of Nigerians in Ethiopian prison, and hoodlums hijacked truckload of palliatives in Benin. Which are we starting with?
I have the Chibok 1,680 more Nigerian school children abducted in 10 years. This is from UNICEF, and this one is saying that a report released by the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, on Monday revealed that attacks and abductors of Nigerian school children have been on the rise since the kidnapping of 260 schoolgirls from government secondary school, Chibok, Borno State, in Northeast 10 years ago. It noted with regret that only 37% of schools across 10 states so far have early warning system in place to identify threats of such attacks in schools. Presenting this report titled Minimum Standard for Safe Schools, MSSS, monitoring report, at the United Nations House, Abuja, UNICEF Nigeria Chief of Education, Sadna Pandey Sobranyan, sorry for that, noted that the journey towards ensuring every Nigerian child can learn in a safe environment is far from over. The report also read in part 1 that in the last 10 years, conflict-related violence has led to more than 1,680 children abducted while at school and elsewhere. 180 children killed during attacks on schools, an estimate of 60 school staffs kidnapped and 14 killed, with more than 70 attacks on schools, according to the verified reports by the United Nations. So I think this one for me is saying that we need to just up our games in security. It's becoming very incessant. It's closer to us than we even think, because sometimes it feels like, oh, thank God my family is not there. Oh, it's in the Northeast. But we have these things trickling down even to Lagos, even to when when we had the attack on the school children in Ekiti State. So it's closer to home than we used to think. So I would think the federal government should be more interested and invest in security over the nonchalance that we see that they usually bring to the table.
Yeah, so, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. You are going to take the NDL history. You're going to
No. I had another story in the Sun.
I know.
While you are deciding what to take, let me take the story of the fact that we are now paying subsidy. So the
we have been paying subsidy
on fuel, on petrol. So the
since
El Rufai, the former governor El Rufai of Kaduna State has said that the federal government's policy to remove subsidy, he totally supported it. But when the hardship became too much, they couldn't make it cost reflective as it should be. And that right now the federal government is spending so much money, much more than before they removed subsidy, paying for the subsidy. He said that if we look at it, petrol should actually cost just as much, if not more, than diesel. Yeah. And right now diesel is going for 1,000 to 1,000, like according to what he said petrol now is diesel is over 1,000, petrol is at 600. So obviously subsidy is being paid because they don't want to put that hardship of additional immediate increment of petrol price on the people. So he said we're still subsidizing petrol, and the government has realized that implementing the fuel subsidy initially required some adjustment. That's why I keep saying that policy that we need to, according to him, we need to keep on looking at the policies, and we must remain pragmatic with our policies. He's advising the president to drop, and I support this one, any appointee that is not delivering. According to him, the president, there are some people that have been appointed to position that are not working, and it is with all humility that he is appealing to the president to drop those appointees from his portfolio, and is praying for the support of the citizen to support the president even as he makes the policies he's going to do. I am totally all for dropping.
But you know, marketers have always complained that there's still subsidy. I'm glad now that people in government are coming out to say that. So
he's not in government.
Yes, but
El-Rufai is not in government.
Yes, but he's part of the people. You will call it the cabinet. Thank you. So a non-governmental organization, Take Back Nigeria Initiative (TBNI) has filed a suit against the federal government for failing to evacuate Nigerians in Ethiopia's prison. They filed a suit at the Federal High Court, Abuja, and according to the group's counsel, Abuchukwu Okoye, is asking the court to order the government and relevant agencies responsible for the welfare of Nigerians, and also having statutory duty over its foreign affairs, to evacuate Nigerians trapped in Kaliti prison. So they had, filed the suit at the end of a 14-day ultimatum which they had given to the federal government, which they had not responded to. And they are saying that you need to come and release these people. They have a lot of Nigerians who are detainees in these prisons, and they are not being taken care of. They are dying in their numbers. But Justice Iyang Eko is expected to hear the case today.
Moving on to Nigerian Tribune, we'll just take the headlines. APC controversy in Kano over Kanduje's suspension. Nigeria grows oil reserve to 37.50 billion barrels. Uniloring professor produces biodiesel from eggshells. That's interesting. Tinubu not serious with Chibok girls rescued as from Clark. Oromoni died of natural causes from corona. Oyo government receives Olakulehin's nomination as the 43rd Olubadan. And UI professor to receive £900,000 pounds British Academy Global Awards. That's so good. But we really can't go into
we can't take how the national, well, it's just that New Ribadu has said that they have rescued over 1,000 victims of kidnapping, and they've done it quietly, and they have not paid any ransom. And he says that they did it without noise, and well,
they used non-kinetic.
He didn't say whether it was.
But that's what they say, yeah.
They've released them from Zamfara, Sokoto, Kaduna, Katsina, Taraba, Adamawa, and so many other states.
So we're happy to hear that they are doing their work, at least.
That's the work they are being paid for.
And he was receiving the 22 students from university
who were released without ransom being paid as well.
They use non-kinetic methods for that.
BC,
I'm very particular.
That's all we can say. Congratulations to to Nigeria. This is our new professor that has uni-learning professor that has found a way to produce bio shells.
Yeah.
That's a good innovation that we need. But that's what we can take on Front Page Review for today. When we return, we'll be having a sponsored segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. The coroner magistrate Malkil Kadiri inquiry into the death of the late student of Doen, Oromoni Sylvester, yesterday has ruled that the 12-year-old boy died of natural causes. In this judgment that lasted over 6 hours, the coroner attributed the death of the deceased to an unavoidable case of parental and medical negligence. The coroner held that Oromonis died of sepsis emanating from infection of the lungs, kidney caused by an ankle injury. What are your thoughts on this? So we discussed it briefly during the newspaper review. But you can join the conversation by calling us on 081-076-41679 or 090-241-63440. Or you can also tweet to us at TVC Connect, #YourViewTVC. YK took the story earlier on the show today, and painful as it was to discuss it, it was really sad to tell a parent that they are the reason their son died. While there may be other contributions, the core reason the boy died, they said, according to the coroner's report, was that it was negligence. YK, you were going to go into some conversation. I said we should save it because we were discussing it later.
Yeah. They took all the blame off the school and gave it to the parents and the doctor, which I hear. But you see, the injury started from the school. Now, I think that when you are paying such large amounts of money to schools, it should be their responsibility for the first treatment. The first hospital, I mean, around that school you have some of the biggest and best hospitals. There is no reason why that boy was not treated properly first before his parents were sent for, because you are the custodian of that child.
Yeah.
When you take that child into your premises, you become the custodian of that child. So I wouldn't absolve the school 100%. The coroner did absolve them, but personally, only on a personal level, I would say for the wounds.
But YK, the cause of death is what they're trying to confirm. They're not trying to confirm.
I know, but
was
it
there
started
bullying
from the wounds now.
The cause of death.
What caused the death?
Exactly. What caused the death? What caused the death?
Sepsis, septicemia. It's from the wound, the ankle. He had a wound on his ankle that he got while playing football. And he played that football
in school.
Not at home. When he wasn't getting better, they called the parents, and the parents came and took him. They too were very neglected to do the right thing. But my point is that it started from the school.
So they shouldn't be completely absolved.
That's what I'm saying.
The blame, according to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the children, it's not the bullying. It's not, even though that too should be addressed for all schools, not just that school, because I'm sure it takes place in a lot of schools. What I'm trying to say is, if your child is in a school and the child develops a wound, I think it's the responsibility of the school to make sure the first aid and the first treatment comes from them.
Okay, let me hear from Dami.
Okay, I think first of all, for our viewers and some people who might be feeling that, oh, sepsis. So I went on Google and I'm saying that sepsis is a life-threatening complication of an infection. Sepsis occurs when chemical released in the bloodstream to fight an infection trigger inflammation throughout the body. This can cause a cascade of changes that damage multiple organ systems, leading them to fail, sometimes even resulting in death. Sepsis. So for me, like, I went to a boarding school too, and I know sometimes some of our boarding teachers and our boarding maybe parents that's in quotes that we have, because once you're out of your house, you come on to other people as your guardian and parents. I think a lot of negligence happens because I remember then back in Command Secondary School Ibadan that I went to, we had a couple of deaths due to negligence, due to the person who is in the sick bay not granting immediate access to somebody who was detrimentally sick. You were seeing her that this person was already frail till she passed on. I'm talking about many years ago, about 15, 16 years ago. And I'm sure but so bringing it to boarding of this day, it still spells the same negligence that we went through. It's the way they say that now God, they look Christmas picking. Along low one more weary. So some of us have been one way or the other mismanaged in our health. You know that this thing is not just managed to survive, to scale through.
This boy could have survived.
He could have survived if they had done the emergency, or what would I say, the first aid. That, okay, this thing is beyond our power. What's the capacity of a secondary school sick bay? They are not to perform surgeries. Even some people are not well equipped to know that. Maybe I'll say to know that when a child is getting hot or temperature, or you can easily say, if it's not malaria, you can treat typhoid. So some of them just have this lackadaisical attitude of like, your mates have been falling sick before, are you the first time? Sharagiri, I mean, pack up yourself, without even looking at probably the boy's history, if there was a medical history to his side. So like YK said, I won't totally also absolve this school. No, they could have done something better, something quicker. And if the school had been the one to tell the parent that, are you aware that this child has so, and so, it would have even been better. Other than them wanting to push everything to the parent and say, okay, we parents sometimes we might not, our eyes do not go round. And sometimes we know that, okay, putting a child in a boarding school, like I've said, my son is going to go to a boarding school for the fact that he'll be independent enough the way I was. But now looking at the medical negligence, I'm asking myself again, are you really sure? So sometimes I'm looking at him like, come, let me press your body. Where's paining you? Is this one? Are you okay? Did you fall? And we discovered also that children, the way they are wired, sometimes because they fear the fact that, oh, a parent might be harsh on them, they might not report immediate injury. So what's the parent's job? After school every day. But this time that it's a boarding school, somebody is responsible for that child during that period. Somebody is a custodian. So it's for me is that you can pick up a phone and report your child. Oh, your child has been feeling bad. Come to the school. Come and pick the child. But when some custodians do not want to seem like they are incompetent, they close it up and like,
I see a deliberate effort to evade the coroner's report. There were two. Because we're choosing, like, we had two. They did the inquest. This didn't happen yesterday or day before yesterday. There was a thorough investigation. In that investigation, medical science proved that the timeline of when the boy was picked up from the school, as opposed to when he got home, and the lack of medical care led to the sepsis. He got medical care immediately. It's a case of, when we talk about we're now choosing that is the school's fault, because I know it's a tough thing to say the parents should take credit. Nobody wants to hear it that I made a mistake and this mistake has cost me something this big. But if we don't address it, we're not helping. There were some gaps in the story between when they were picked and when they went to church. Which happened even in the case of the person that was just drowned, where the person was picked, instead of going to the hospital, they went to go and do rituals
first.
So let us address it so that we prevent this in future.
I understand YK and Dami, where they've, the angle. Yeah, this sort of started from the root cause, the very first thing that happened, that they felt, the school should have, be more responsible, which I personally agree. And I know that there are schools where if anything happens and their sick bay cannot handle it, sick bay is just basically for stomach ache and headaches and all. They take the child to the hospital and they call the parents. So this is what we have noticed. They are running tests on your child now. Are you coming to pick up the child, And then before that child resumes, they call you and they say, has everything been sorted? Do you have the doctor's report? You come back home with a doctor's report certifying that you're healthy enough to continue, which I believe the school failed in that, right? But that is also not the cause of death, because from the beginning to the middle and to the end, after the school had done their part, it was now left for the parents and the doctor to sort of take care of this child. Now, you have a child who comes home who probably had an injury and then they've done maybe their first aid in school and handed them over to you. What did you now do to follow up and ensure that that child was fit to go back to school? Were we like in a hurry? Okay, it's something small. And I also fault some of the doctors that we have in this country. Everything you have is malaria.
No,
malaria and typhoid. If you do not insist on taking tests, they don't even think about it. When I go to the hospital now and I'm feeling a certain type of way, and they say, okay, we're going to, when you're prescribing, I'm looking at you. We're going to, is malaria, please, can I run this test? This is how I'm feeling. Can I run that test? I call out the names of the tests that I need to run to be sure, because I've had issues of is malaria and typhoid, and after a while I discovered it was something else. Right? So we know that. That's the negligence part I'm sure the corona has spotted. And also the fact that the parents did not do their due diligence. And I know it's painful to hear this as a parent, with everything you're doing for your child, to realize that by some mistake that you have made, it led to the death of your child. No parent wants to accept that. No parent wants to believe that. But I know that we need to begin to have this intense conversations, because we are human beings. Even though we are parents, we can fail. We can make mistakes, right? And it's just painful that we now have to be learning some of these things in a very hard way. And everybody's praying that we don't learn this in a hard way, but we make mistakes. And sometimes because of our busy schedule, we do not pay attention to certain things. We just feel like, over time, like every other wound, this boy has been wounding himself now. It will be okay. Just put that powder. There's this powder we used to open. Is it red and yellow capsule? We pour it there, cover plaster. It will be fine. Now we know that with every little thing, we must pay deep attention. We must certify that that child is okay before we go back to, or send the child back to the boarding house. It's really a painful story, but we must pay attention to what the corona has spotted for the parents and also for the doctor. I really do not know how they went about with the doctor, what he diagnosed and all of that, yeah.
The doctor, did they send the child after the wound back to the school?
No, that's what I'm saying. The way the chronological order of the story, boy complained of leg pain, went to the sick bay. The treatment, immediate pain relief was administered, and then he was sent home.
Okay.
So it was when he was sent to, they said, according to the report, they said they didn't take him to when he was sent to, they didn't take him to the hospital
immediately.
32 hours, almost 3 days, like over 2 days. Over 2 days of not going to the hospital before they now took him to the hospital. And when they got to the hospital, the report that people that came out upon his death was that he was beaten in school
and then probably poisoned.
Yeah.
So it was a case of, did he die based on being poisoned? No. He didn't die based on being poisoned. Could he have been bullied in school? Maybe. There were those fights. There was a thorough investigation. Autopsy was done in Lagos. Autopsy was done in Delta. So the two autopsies proved that there was no poisonous substance. If we lay that aside, and I'm guilty of this. Many of us parents, especially when we are spiritual, feel like when we pray about something, this is very, very close to home, because while I was in Mauritius, my kids had chicken pox, and my husband was busy saying, take them to the hospital. Take them to the hospital. My mommy said, they have used Agbo. I have prayed. Nothing will happen to my children. Can you take care of them? It was major quarrel between my mother, because it was just a case of get them to the hospital.
Yeah.
We tend to feel like, what would they do in the hospital?
No.
what will they do in the hospital? Because we know that sometimes there's medical negligence, but at least let the medical negligence take place within the hospital.
Certified.
We must, if we don't call it out, the little things that we do as individuals and as Nigerians that can be culpable in the bigger problems we're facing, we will not deal with it. So right now, there is a sad incident of a parent being blamed for their own child's death. And we can say the school could be blamed and all of that, but we must deal with the issue. What's the response to sickness? Is to go to the hospital. Our own response in Nigeria is to go to chemists, and we must call it out.
I would say that some of us, just like BC mentioned, I know a girl who is actually fighting brain tumor at the moment. She's gone through 2 surgeries. Wow. And from inception, after she complained that she had headache, it was malaria. So she had to leave Nigeria to go to Benin Republic to actually have that test done. Now, after she had the whole mammography and everything done, she brought back the disc to Nigeria. And the doctor said he didn't even have a laptop to watch the disc. Yes, we're hoping to put some money together for her 3rd surgery, which is the final one now. And she said even up until paracetamol that you administered here, he doesn't even feel that's original. It doesn't work for her. So imagine somebody who's been to the hospital about 6 times and you keep getting malaria. Until when she traveled to Benin, then they noticed that there were sprinkles of brain tumor. Hey. So she is an advocate of anybody who slumps and dies. It might just be brain tumor over a while. So these medical people, this medical architecture apparatus, they are the first respondent of our lives and safety.
So
I'm glad you went there. Sorry, Tokwe. I'm glad you went there.
We have the father on Zoom.
The father
yes, and it's a painful conversation to have. How could we have avoided this? What could we have done? And how do we prevent it in future? Welcome to the show. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Please, I'm using a friend's phone. I think we can try.
Okay. So we've been discussing the results from the coroner concerning the sad demise of your son, and the report and your reply to them. We'd like to hear from you. What was your immediate reaction? We have a video of it. Can you hear me, sir? Based on what we've heard from the coroner, it was a 6-hour judgment.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there's a network challenge. Do you feel that how would you react to yesterday's judgment?
Good morning.
I think we're having a bit of delay, so we'll just wait. He can hear me, so we'll wait for the reply. Okay, so let's take a quick break. We'll try to sort out the technical issues and come back with him when we return from the break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So we've been discussing the judgment of the coroner concerning the death of Sylvester Oromoni. Took place in 2022. And we have his father online with us right now via Zoom. And the conversation is to ask him his reaction to the judgment. We'd like to hear from you, sir. What was your initial reaction to the judgment, sir?
Thank you.
I think that what we'll just do is we'll try and reach him directly on the phone. I think we're having technical issues with the Zooms.
Yeah.
But while we're waiting to have his own official reaction, what do you think? Because right now we're trying to draw what we empathize with him for such a terrible loss, and we're trying to think about it as parents, grandparents, as a nation. How do we ensure this doesn't happen again? What are the things, what are the lessons that we have learned that can help us to rise above these things from happening?
I think one of the first things is to regulate these hospitals. That's, you know, they are not regulated. Any Tom, Dick and Harry will just stand up, I want to open a hospital. And then there are no checks and balances. Nobody is coming to check that this is...
They're certified or they're...
When you go to hospital, everybody is typhoid and malaria. They don't bother. Look, I took my grandson. He wounded his leg when they were here. And I took him to this hospital. When I even saw the hospital, I wondered what I was doing there in the first place. Then the doctor was now on the phone. The only hospital only has one doctor, the owner.
Wow.
So it was the nurse and whether, I don't know.
Auxiliary nurses and
they were,
support attendants.
And my grandson was screaming, and then he was asking, why are they doing this to me? A 5-year-old child was asking, why are they doing this? I said, excuse me, it's all right.
Leave him.
Leave him. We took him away. They could have even gone to go and cause, because the way they were treating the wound, it was terrible.
Ew, no empathy.
And not even like, it wasn't like hygienic, right? Because I think that's what you were saying. A non-hygienic format.
Look, I have to be mad for anybody to take me to that hospital again. I will never.
So the low-end hospitals, we could...
Even high-end. You'll be shocked. Shebi, I went to one recently, and it was my daughter that I brought there, my little girl. And, you know, the way the doctor was attending to us, no eye contact with the child. He was quite scary. And he was looking so unkempt. I knew something was wrong with this doctor. I wasn't comfortable. So by the time I came back the second time to meet the doctor, I told the attendant, I said, please, can I have another doctor? Because I really do not want to take my child into that place. She was scared. And I was sitting down there. He didn't look at my face. He didn't look at the child. You know, the care was just not there at all. And then the attendant was like, there's something definitely going on, because this is not the first person complaining. They had to find me another doctor. So I think across board, you have a call.
Samuel has called in from Jos. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister. You see, this is a pathetic story, my dear. It is very sad that you lose your precious son or a daughter to negligence. I want to believe that this negligence came from the side. One person shouldn't be blamed, in as much as we heap the blame on the school, we also heap the blame on the parents as well. Because this is just a collective negligence, so to speak. But like one of you rightly said, what should be paramount in our mind now is how to mitigate against this devilish and sad story. Because if you don't nip it in the bud, you might see yourself in the coming days or months or even in years, it's occurring again. So we should task the school authorities. If you are establishing a school, there should be medical facility, equipped medical facility. You don't just bring people's children and when it is headache or whatever or running stomach, you send them back. If I send my child or my daughter, my grandchildren under your custody, please, whatever happens, you should take adequate responsibility, because I am paying for his upkeep. I don't just go in here because as they are giving us a certificate when I was in school, they are both in character in learning. I am bringing the child for you to a proper upkeep, not just for school purposes. Please, parents and the school authorities, we should take this into consideration so that we don't have a repeat of this ugly situation. Thank you, and God make you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel, for calling. You were saying something.
We just need to be holistic in our approach, which is to pay.
Sorry, it's back on the phone. Okay, so I wanted to get your initial reaction. We had technical issues, but what is your reaction to the judgment? Do you agree? Do you disagree? How do you think it could have been done better?
about 10 pathologists representing various parties. The Lagos State government and Dowen College took parties. They all agreed that death was caused by septicemia, a life-threatening health condition.
I don't think that... Are you listening to the TV or you are listening to us? We would like to really hear your opinion, but while we're waiting to be sure that you are listening to us and you're the one talking to us right now, BC was saying something about hospitals and...
Yes, I think we all need to, have a holistic approach to these things. Everybody in this case is to blame, whatever the corona has said, because something definitely led to something. And with the schools, like the last caller said, it's their responsibility to take care of the children that are in their care, but to some extent, because it is not it's not a hospital, it's a school. So if they do the first care, which is either to take the child, I don't know how some of these schools run, but I know that the school where my children
we are back with him again. Wow. So I want to be sure. I'm sorry we keep interrupting you, BC.
It's okay.
It's just that we need to get his opinion. Hello, sir. Can you hear us now? I'm not sure that we are on the right line. Can you hear us now? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was saying the child must be taken to the hospital for the first care, and the parents must be called immediately to come and take over that care, except for where maybe the parents are not in the country. But they must have a guardian, yes. They must have a guardian that when you're filling the forms in school, they say there's an emergency contact that they can call that, okay, the child is in the hospital, we're running this test to ascertain exactly what has gone wrong, but you need to come. And from the point that you pick that child, the child is your child. The child becomes your responsibility. You must do all that you can to make sure that your child is okay before releasing that child back to the school. There are children I've heard, even while I was a classroom teacher, that we have to send them home because you tell the parent to come and pick them from the clinic. They go the next day, they bundle them and sneak them into school because they are working, they are doing business. Nobody is there to pay attention. So we now have to call, you are going back. You are not properly okay. So that at least if it's something that is infectious, you don't infect the other children. So we nobody feel born your pikin pass as you take born am. The help that you give to me, now help you give me. But once I'm there, I am in charge because he's my child. Exactly. And anything goes wrong, I'm the one that will bear the brunt. I'm the one that will cry the cry. It's not the school, it's not the teacher. So that responsibility. Then also insisting that even as parents, when you take your children to the hospital, you must pay attention to the care that the caregivers are giving.
Yes,
you must be informed.
You
must be informed.
Exactly.
You must insist. I fight very well in the hospital. You must insist on the tests that you want to conduct because you never can tell. You don't leave them is it what the doctor has said and then you go back home. We all are responsible for this.
Let's take this call from Chuma. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Unado. My sister will just finish up now. Me, I support you, Neo. You see the thing be there, if I just see headache, I go hospital. Doctor, now headache go treat me. No insist on another test because as you are doing that one, you don't want to make us spend no money. If I carry bleeding wound come, I bet treat me on that window. No run me so much test. Because sometimes what they do and be said they won't collect more money from the parents and the children involved.
That's not true.
So I beg. Man, I know they collect money unjustly. Thank you, I beg.
Mr. Chuma, this is also part of the problem. The assumption that when a doctor says, let's do further investigation, we assume that it's because the hospital wants to make some money. While in actual fact, further investigation might reveal more information.
That's actually where I'm going to. As painful as the death is, and
just be in 1 minute.
As Tokwe said, that we're all parents. I think that parents too, at some point, should be very truthful with themselves. Yeah. There are a lot of times we fill forms and they are asking you what are the medical probably deficits or what are the medical challenges, medical conditions that your children have. So and you're just there, no. And you know that there is a yes. Because these things, if you fill these forms, I'm sure it will help them to better prepare and to know. So that when your child is complaining of incessant headache or cold, they can already go back to the form field and say, okay, the child has a form of allergy. Instead of now administering something that will trigger the allergy. So sometimes I would enjoin parents that let us be truthful. Let us be very truthful in how we deal in the care of our children.
Very important.
What?
Okay,
I need to
final
ask you this
comments.
question, because when you're saying no, 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 maybe you don't even
No.
Or maybe
So
you
let's
don't understand.
As when BC in rounding off, BC mentioned a few things that are very important. Parents need to be aware, because if you don't know as a parent, if you are not observant as a parent, your child might not be getting quality care, and you are not able
Even in
to
the
help
hospital.
because you don't know, even in the hospital. So being informed is extremely important. We all agree that responsibility, if you have a child, your child is your core responsibility. The school might be helping, but you must be on ground. If they call in school, come and pick up your child, you are not saying, I'm at work, I have business meeting. You rush there and pick up that child. If your children are taking drugs, you don't send them to school when you know that they should still be resting and recuperating at home. Because we are all busy as parents nowadays, sometimes we are pushing the bulk and pushing the responsibility to somebody else. We must be on
It
ground.
just reminds me, my brother's daughter, she just had a major operation on her leg, you know, and she wants to go to school.
Well, you had to shut down. We need to pay attention to our children. We pray that our heart goes out once again to the family of Oromoni, and we're praying that God will give them fortitude to bear their loss. No parent ever wants to hear this kind of thing. And as it is today, we just pray that we will never be the recipients of this. That's all we can take on this particular segment of the show. When we return, we'll come back for our Let's Talk. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show today is the founder of Comfort Empowerment and Advocacy Foundation, Paul Akinyemi Thomas. He'll be speaking about raising awareness about sexual assault, domestic violence, and child marriage. He's an avid speaker, an avid blogger as well, and a strong advocate for women empowerment. Seriously, how did this happen? Why did you decide to do something like this? We see more women in advocacy. Very rarely do we see men. So how did this happen?
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Paul Akinyemi Thompson. I think before I was born, my mom wasn't from a very rich family, well-to-do family, and she saw this man of God, the Reverend, like, can you please raise my daughter for me? And this man accepted. And when my mom was 12 years old, he was molesting her.
Jeez.
And this little girl was complaining, telling people about our experience, but she was actually dismissed because she was a girl. Like, nobody's going to believe a little girl over this man, And when my mom, the abuse continued for so many years, and when my mom was 16, I think 17, she had my big sister, and 3 years later, they had me. And the family made us to believe that we had the reason for that. We were calling us slave, Omeru, and we were left to that literally, Because I remember while I was growing, there was a time my sister was already fuming from her mouth. The flies, she already perching on the body, and like we just left to be just,
Was it the pastor that was...
The wives actually, because the man actually had about 10 wives, before all of this happened, and before I traveled, one of these women made me to eat my own poop. She did all of this. But I'm here today, I'm grateful. And the reason why I started this is very simple. There was so many wrong that happens to my mom because of what happens to her. She didn't even get married to anybody, So, and even in my family up to today, they still call me slave, Omeru, And I had to grow up with so many self-esteem issues, And I felt like I wasn't good enough, And I was so lucky. I traveled to the United States. I won a visa lottery, by the way. So when I won the visa lottery, so I was there. I was making some bad choices. I didn't really know what was going on with my life. I walked around hungry every day. So I had an accident. I was drinking. I had an accident, and I was told to go to like a rehab, like a counseling. So the lady was speaking to me like, "Why do you always drink?" I was like, "I don't know why I drink." So she asked me, "Tell me about your childhood." So then I realized that, wow, I can't even talk about it. You know, so she told me, she said, you're actually traumatized. Like you did so, like you actually repressed all of this memory, you know. So I was in America and I felt like, if that can happen to me, you know, because what about people that doesn't have a voice? You know, so I spoke to my mommy about it. She was, because we never actually get along for so long. We actually made up about 3-4 years ago.
Wow.
Because I felt like she abandoned me, you know, but right now I didn't see it that way, you know. So we actually made up and we started this idea about in 2014 originally, and right now we are registered in the United States too.
As well.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. So I just felt like this is the right time to let people know the danger, because that is about sexual violence and child marriage. I saw so many domestic violence too growing up.
Physical
you know, physical, and I couldn't even explain so many.
violence.
You know, but I'm just excited that I'm here today.
Okay, I have a very close story, and the girl 11 was being defiled by her father since age 9. I requested they bring her to my house so that I could even understand that, is this really true? But I noticed that when we went to the court, because it was reported, the IPO in charge of the case withdrew a lot of information from my friend, who is the child's school friend who helped her.
Right.
And I'd also discovered that the mother of the child was actually pleading with the child to testify against the father that he wasn't doing it, despite the fact that they had gone to lawsuit, I guess, and they had carried out tests. What is the role of marriage? Because I'd also seen another video of a woman saying, oh, she cannot leave her husband if he desecrates their child, or if he sexually abuses their child. What is the role of union, man and woman, in the life of a child who comes forward to say, this has been happening?
First of all, you have to pay attention to your kids. You know, when you have, like, for example, maybe there's a certain person that your kids usually spend time with. You know, maybe they're usually happy, you know. But for some reason, they just start being
Peevish and touchy.
right with that person. Stop dismissing your child's emotion. Pay attention, you have to listen. And the roles of parent in the life of a child is so important. You know, I'm not saying, because you want to raise a child that is going to be bold, be able to express themselves when something that is not right with them. Because if people believe my mom, like all of these years, you know, maybe this wouldn't have happened. You know, even up to today, people were still saying that she's wrong. And I was like, how can you blame a 12-year-old girl? This man is 50-year-old.
Jesus.
You know, he knows more than this little girl.
Blaming the victim.
You know, so that's the reason why the idea of comfort empowerment was started. You know, we need to be advocating about, because these are everyday issues. It's not just.
It's happening
almost everywhere. Yeah.
So she had you for the pastor.
Yes, me and my big sister.
So by that time, didn't they know she was speaking the truth?
No, but it happened since when she was small.
This man could do no wrong. You know,
Was a man of
Pastor.
God,
yeah, he could do no wrong. Like, who's gonna believe a little girl over? I mean, is a well-respected person, you know, and that's the main reason why we have to start blaming victim most of the time.
We have to stop blaming
because that happens, you know, a lot. And I think right now Nigeria is doing better when it comes to the issue of that. But I believe that by the time we keep speaking about it, there's so many things we can still improve.
Yeah.
You know.
So, very, very sorry for your traumatic experience.
Thank you.
Where we have grown to the point where we now see that we had to go through that because of the glory that was before us and because of the message we have to the world.
Right.
Now, sitting down here, I can't see someone who would powerfully advocate for women and then tell them his story and his mother's story and connect to a lot of women all over the world. So
Right.
well done.
Thank you so
choosing
much.
this path and, you know, spotlighting what has been happening. But I want to ask you, in your advocacy, and now that you say you are working on building a shelter, have you seen women who are in domestic violent relationships who somehow refuse to break out of it because of some of the benefits that they are getting, or the fact that they do not have the will to stand up because of what society will say? When you come across such women, what is that hope you give to them that they can actually come out of this and survive?
Well, that's a very good question. But the first thing is, when you see a woman that tells you that no matter what happened in that relationship, she's not going to leave that marriage, there are two things that is going on right there. First of all, that lady or the woman watches her own mom getting beat up every day. Domestic violence is actually It's a learned behavior. It's not something that people were born with. For example, now when a boy, let's assume a boy, sees his dad beating his mom every time, and that child grow up, that child is in danger himself. He's a victim, even though the child might be abusing his own girlfriend, because he's repeating what he saw growing up.
Yeah.
And that little girl that sees his mom getting beat up every day, for that little girl sticking around, she's trying to represent what happened in her childhood. So that is a normal thing to her. So we have to bring it into the consciousness of people. It shouldn't be like a family matter anymore. It shouldn't be. It has to be something that you can discuss, like the way you guys are discussing about, like a normal conversation. So it shouldn't be something that people are going to be afraid to talk about. And you have to understand that when someone abuses you, it is not your fault. It is a learned behavior by this other person, even though he himself might be a victim, because that's what he saw doing that. So what we have to do, if you are a victim,
normalize the conversation.
Right. And most of the time, a lot of these victims, they actually stuck with the person that is beating them.
abusers.
So that was the reason why we came up with the idea of a shelter. Because when someone can have a place they can escape to, they can run to, that can even give them options, hope. So I don't know if I answered your question
Yes,
right.
yes, you answered my
So you have this shelter. Sorry, you have this shelter now. It's
We are building it. We are like 90% complete. It's not really well done. But the reason why I started was because I don't want to say I accused my mom. I called her like, you told me all of this sad story about this man. Why didn't you just stay with him? And she told me our own family doesn't even want to take her.
She had nowhere to go.
Right, and I could, like right now I can see from my own perspective, because at the time I felt like she abandoned me. I was so mad, because I was going around, walking around with so many anger. But when I started talking to people, they was like, your mom too is a victim, like what the hell with you? You have to just relax, you have to forgive her. And the people that did this thing, up to today, they've never accepted any responsibility for what they did.
Yeah.
So I want to take this as my life purpose. This really motivates me. Like I want to make this my life task. And I believe with God, with the help of the media, we're gonna keep talking about it, advocate about it. And
I like the advocacy part. If you need me, call me. I will tell them. Because
So we've been going around too.
too many issues. But now I want to talk about admittance. How do you intend to admit these bruised victims? Because looking at what BC says, some people don't even want to live willingly, and their life is already on the cliff. Any moment it will just be open. I mean, will cut. Do you understand? So do you think that it is something that they have to willingly come to you, or when you now have such endearing cases, you move in, you swing into action, and you get out the victim?
Well, in confident empowerment, we have something called anonymous reporting. Because most of the time people don't feel it's a very difficult situation to talk about things that are going on with you. So when you report something like anonymously, we have like 2 people, even though we're still trying to partner with other counselors, that can talk to them, because it's not going to be, because these things happen over time. It's not just because let me give you the reason why women stay. Let me give you just one reason why. In 1973, in Stockholm, Sweden, there was armed robbery. And this it was a serial killer. He held about 6 women hostage for 6 days. Then after that, he was convicted. But in court, the women were defending him. So that was where the idea of Stockholm syndrome came from. So what happened is that you are seeing a positive trait of your abuser. It's like you're feeling sorry for that person. So in a way, you feel like you want to help them. You can help them. But it is a learned behavior. This guy doesn't even see anything wrong with it. The reason why someone can change is if they realize that what I'm doing is not right. They can have that humbleness in their own mind, and that's why they can, like, you know what, I think,
help.
Yeah. But if they don't see it that way, some even say, hey, that's what got on, mommy, what taking here. It's not like that anymore.
My mom went through it,
Right.
and she was okay, or this is what I saw going on.
Every marriage has
every marriage has its
their
own
ups and downs.
Agree though. That's very, you should agree with
but
that.
not beating,
come on.
not abuse, not sexual molestation.
Thank you.
So I know that you have a call number
Yes,
that
ma'am.
people that need help can reach out to. You see, in answering your question, I don't think any will have enough homes to accept everybody.
Right.
They choose to.
But if people are looking for a place to stay, to avoid being killed, they should have an option. There are people right now that they are looking for a place. They are ready to leave. they don't just have anywhere to go. Those are the people that we can then say, oh, you can then get help from the shelter. So how can they reach out?
Well, like I said, I'm not trying to give you a false information. The shelter is not 100% done. We're 90% done, but that's the goal of the shelter.
But what you do now is counseling?
Yeah, counseling, talk to people about it. We go to schools.
So if somebody is going through...
yeah, they can reach out. Yeah, of course. And we have an office in Akute. Yeah, yeah. So I can I say, the address is at 52 Manchester Shopping Complex.
You can read out the number.
52 Manchester Shopping Complex, Akute. And the number is 09134736562. 09134736562. And in case I want to reach out in the United States too, because we just registered in the United States too, 00914108423876. And we are all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on.
I think the advocacy is a big deal. YK, you want to...
Yeah, I wanted to ask how many, once the shelter is completed, how many people can...
We can take 6 people, but each room can take 2. Not just one person.
They can share.
Yeah, because it's a very large room, you know. But we're not going to reveal that location, though, for safety reasons.
So.
Because I saw a video very recently, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, a woman who had left her husband's house. It was on social media, and the guy actually called her to lure her that, he wanted to come and appeal.
But he has a different motive.
And he eventually beat her to a pulp. You understand? So in situations like that, who is the first responder? Are we going back to the government, or are we coming back to the family? Because we cannot take out the family unit from some of these things. And in quotes, in our Yoruba, in our side, they'll say, that's why you were married legally. So they'll have to bring in your parents and his parents. But in this situation, to resolve the matter, but in this situation, who is the first responder?
Well, the first responder are professional help. For like counselors, because if therapists, like for example, when a victim of a domestic violence is speaking to maybe like a counseling, from the way she's talking, they can tell what's going on behind the scene, even because that's what they are trained about. And some of the time, our police officer needs to do. I mean, they are trying because some of the police.
I was going to ask you that exact question.
Okay.
Yes, please, because you were able, you found help for trauma that was repressed while being what would have been penalized for the crime that you seemingly committed.
Yeah, I had a DUI. Right. So I think our government, the Nigerian government is trying, but I believe we can improve and do better, because some of these police too, some of them abuse their wife at home. Like, let's be real, because I had a situation whereby a woman was telling this man, this police officer, that he was abused while she was pregnant, and the police told her to go back home to be a good wife. So most of the things we can do is like we can reorientate the police themselves, because in America too, it's a very, very delicate issue. Like, they are trained specially for that. So when people come to you and explain to you, even though you cannot even help them, you have this type of shelter. You know, their numbers. We only have 21 in all over Nigeria. And that's very, very too small. You know, so I believe with the help of advocacy and talking about it, we can have more partners too, and hopefully we can do better.
Maybe some people that are not even around. Maybe some people that are not even in the country and their houses are just locked up.
They might even donate their house
to you, so at least you can have more shelter for more people.
We have a lot of free houses here that people are not living in. We too can also donate.
I've never seen
that. And I want to commend Lagos State government.
Lagos.
They have shelters, and they are really improving. And I believe, you know, as time goes on, everything's going to be great.
So I would like to also, advise that in setting up the shelter here, we must first of all also pay attention to having maybe in collaboration with quite a number of therapists.
Oh, therapists, yeah.
Yes, because sometimes these women finally break away, but after a while, they are not used to the new normal you're trying to introduce them to.
That's
why find their way back.
That's why empowerment needs to come in.
Now you understand that it's no longer a physical issue, it has gone mental.
Mental, right.
And it has to be dealt with from there, so that you don't have people, after rehabilitating them for a bit, the next 2 years they are back to the same home again, and then they come back. Because I worked with a non-governmental organization, Project Alert on Violence Against Women.
Right.
And I knew how, even with the shelters they had, these women will come, after a while, they are running back.
Yeah.
You know, so you have
what
to
they
keep
know.
what they know. You have to keep, you know, talking to them, getting them healing.
Right.
So it's like a conversation you're going to have with your partners, the coaches, the therapists, and all of that, to set out a program for them that will take them weeks to
Right.
heal from that situation.
We're also
But you're
looking
doing
for
a wonderful job.
other counselors, like, you know, to you know, because it's not a one-man thing. It has to be, you know, a general effort by everybody.
In the space of advice, like she said, we have people studying psychology in the university, and there are many students that they are getting
wanna volunteer.
theoretical knowledge. We could partner with them to volunteer.
Oh, that's great.
She's a life coach, and she deals with all this trauma and all of that. She'll be able to help. You are still on TV, sir.
No, yeah. Okay,
but
sorry. My
Talk
fault.
about
My
I would volunteer.
Yeah,
I
my
would volunteer, yeah.
I would like to say that thank you for turning your pain into
passion.
a gain for other people, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for finding a way to turn that trauma into a blessing to others that are going to be benefiting from your initiative. Your story is very, very touching.
It is.
And I just pray that other people that have gone through, that are going through, or went through this, will find hope in the fact that you've been able to step out of that darkness into becoming light for others.
Yes, ma'am.
What would be your final words as we're out of time?
Well, if you're going through domestic violence, you need to understand that it is not your fault, you know, and you have to seek help. You have to validate your own emotion, because many times we want to dismiss how you feel. Your emotions are valid, they are genuine. You know, you have to believe that, and you have to believe that you're not the only one. Like, it is not, don't blame yourself for it at all. This man learn it, and you have to seek help. You have to make sure you seek for shelter too, because safety first. You know, and I believe with the help of the government, we can even do better than that.
Like you said, Lagos is doing a whole lot. We expect other states
Yeah.
to take up the same thing
DSVR
as well.
team.
Yes, I know. DSVR team is doing a whole lot. We want to have DSVR in every other state, bringing support to people going through challenges. Stop victim shaming. You said that.
Yes.
Stop
Family
victim
members
shaming.
too.
Family members should provide support in the family. Normalize conversations around abuse. People shouldn't be victim shamed for talking about their abuse.
Right.
Seek help when you need it and validate yourself on that journey. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul Akinyemi Thompson, for contributing to the show today and for the good work you're doing. Our heart goes out to all the ones going through these challenges. That's all we can take on today's show. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.